Hello, today I'm headed to Rongai via Magadi Road. Magadi Road is the stretch of road that stretches from Bomas roundabout in Karen to Magadi town. So it passes through Rongai town, Kiserian, Kona, Baridi and those places. I'm going to look at the road. This road was planned to be dualed back in 2018-2019. There were plans to dual it because there's a lot of traffic. As you can see, Rongai town is colloquially known as diaspora by Kenyans, by Nairobians. It is known as diaspora because it's so far away from the rest of Nairobi. To be fair, Rongai is not that far from the Nairobi city center. Rongai is actually just 21 kilometers from the city center, which makes it the same distance as places like Ruiru, Mlolongo and such. The only thing that makes Rongai seems to be very far from the CBD is because of the traffic. Rongai has very bad traffic during peak hours, and that is mainly because of Magadi Road. The road is very narrow, and the town, Rongai town, is now very highly populated. So the heavy traffic on Magadi Road makes it look like Rongai is very, very much further from the CBD than the other places I've mentioned. There were plans to expand the Magadi Road, the Bomas interchange to Konambaya, and there were further plans to extend it all the way to Magadi town, but that was poised not to happen anytime soon. That was poised to happen several years after the expansion of the main section. The road was supposed to be dualed to have at least 4 lanes, 2 lanes on each carriageway. There were reports in the media around 2019 that Sinohydro company, Sinohydro is a Chinese construction company, had won the tender to dual the road from Bomas to Konambaya. And I saw many people share it. It was said that it would be done at a cost of 13.9 billion Kenya shillings. I'm not sure whether it's 13.9, but around 13 point something billion Kenya shillings. So Sinohydro was supposed to dual the road, and it was said that the tender was given to Sinohydro in 2019. Then I was looking all over the internet, and I was looking at what different reporters and media and YouTubers had said about the road. I noticed that most of the journalists, the terms they were using were not in harmony with what they were trying to say or what they meant, what they were trying to mean. And okay, I'm a civil engineer by profession, so I decided to look into it and see why. For example, there is this article by Business Daily by Boniface Otieno of Nation Media Group. It stated that Sinohydro had won the contract, a performance-based contract. The report is dated June 12, 2019, and it stated that Sinohydro had won a performance-based contract of up to 10 years for maintenance and repair. Then he goes ahead and says it will take around 1 year to dual the road. Now, a PBC contract, which is a performance-based contract, is a maintenance contract. It is normally given to a company by KeNHA to maintain a road for a certain period of time, depending on the length of the contract signed by the contractor and KeNHA. A construction company is given a contract to maintain a road for a period of time. Let's say, for example, 3 years. So within 3 years, this company will make sure that the road is usable. Sometimes, or most of the time, there are normally additional works that are included in the contract. For example, the contractor might be told to recarpet the road or top dress the road. To top dress is simply to, the chippings, those small stones, kokoto, kuweka ile kokoto, that is called top dressing or surface dressing. So the contractor might be required to top dress the road, build some culverts, maybe a little expansion on the shoulders, not full dualing of the road. A little expansion just to make the road a little bit wider. Sometimes as the road ages, the shoulders break off and the road becomes narrower. So over time, it becomes so narrow that it becomes problematic for vehicles to pass. So sometimes the contractor might be told to widen the road a little bit and build a few culverts. Contracts are normally not very expensive, performance-based contracts. But according to the journalist, he says it is a performance-based contract. Then he goes ahead and says Sinohydro has estimated that it will take 1 year to dual the road. Now, dualing a road that was initially a single carriageway cannot be done in a performance-based contract. So I noticed that there was something wrong. Then I went online and I found many YouTubers making videos saying that the road is being built by Hydro, whatever. So I felt like I should go and check and see what really happened. I also looked online and looked at the photos that were circulating and the videos. I noticed that that is not dwelling, that is just maintenance. So I decided to go and look for myself. Maybe when I saw what was happening on ground, I felt maybe they're just doing a diversion so that they can do the dual carriageway, because not all these people cannot be wrong about this. Then I decided maybe I should go there myself and see what was happening on ground. Here we are. I'm going to Magadi Road to see what is really happening on ground. You can see what is going on. This is not dwelling. This is simply expansion. And I'm sure this is also not a construction of a diversion. As you can see, this is clearly expansion on the shoulders of the road. It is an expansion on the shoulders of the road. If it was a diversion, they wouldn't have gone to all this extent of covering it, doing everything like a road should be done. So when I was looking at this road driving towards Rongai, I felt if at all there's any dwelling that will be going on this road, then it means they are doing one carriageway first before they start doing the next. But again, I noticed that the middle of the road was being left untouched. There's no way they could dwell a road and leave the middle and leave the existing road untouched. If they're going to dwell this road at that cost, they'll have to do the whole road from the subgrade to the pavement levels. So there is no way they will be dwelling this road and leaving the mid sections untouched. This is clearly a maintenance project. So I went and I talked to the people on ground. What I noticed is that this contract was not given to Sino. These works are not being done by Sino Hydro. Maybe the works that were done in 2020 were done by Sino Hydro, but it was also a PBC project, a contract. It was a performance-based contract, which means Sino Hydro were contracted to do maintenance of this road. And maybe their contract ended, I don't know. Of course, if they were given a PBC contract, it was given for a period of time before it ended. So it was given for a period of time. If it was given in 2020, if it was, let's say, 3 years or 4 years, then it probably ended in 2023. I also went online and noticed that in 2023, in February 2024, another tender was floated by KeNHA. It was a PBC contract for B19. B19 is Magadi Road, basically. So from Bomas to Kiserian, there was a contract that was floated for PBC contract. So I noticed that if the tender was floated in February 2024, then it means the previous PBC contract had ended in 2023. So probably the contract that Sino Hydro won, that was being thrown around in the media as dwelling of the road, was actually a PBC contract, and it lasted from 2020 to 2023. That is a period of about 3 or 4 years. That is normally the average time, the average amount of period that PBC contracts take. So if Sino Hydro did the maintenance of the road between that period, then it had ended. They had to float a tender again so that another company could take over, because KeNHA, at any given point, a KeNHA road normally has a PBC contract ongoing, because the road has to be continuously maintained. So I noticed that if this tender was floated in February 2024, then it is the tender that is ongoing right now. And as we speak, the kind of works that people are talking about and saying it's dwelling of the road are actually simply maintenance of the road. And I also noted that on Facebook, occasionally people would share the photo of works ongoing, and people would come and say, at last at last someone has decided to do all the Magadi road. At last people from Rongai will not be suffering from all those traffic jams. And people would come and comment, we see this every year. They come here, they bring tractors, they do a little shoddy work, then they leave. Then I realized that because most of these people do not understand what is going on, most of those little shoddy constructions, in quotes, shoddy construction they talk about, is normally just maintenance of the road. So because the road has been, politicians have been coming along all the time and shouting how they are going to do all the road. So every time people see road machinery, they think maybe at last this road is being dulled. Then it ends up not being dulled. Then they think these people are taking us for a ride. They blame KeNHA, but KeNHA is not to blame. The people who are to blame are the politicians who come here and tell people the road is being dulled when it's just a performance-based contract. You know, engineers from KeNHA cannot come and start politicking and telling people you are going to do this and do that. They just do their work. It is the politicians who come and say all these kind of things. So I went and talked to the guys on ground, and I noticed that what is actually ongoing on Magadi Road is a PBC contract, and it is not being done by Sino Hydro. It is being done by a company called Siham Company. Siham Company is a Kenyan company, and it specializes on PBC contracts. So they are doing maintenance of this road, and they're doing a little expansion on the edges. What is going to happen is they're going to build a wider road, and this road won't have a marked center line. You know, normally roads have a marked center line to divide the vehicles going from one direction to the other direction. So this particular road won't have a marked center line. It will have edge lines, those white lines on the edges. The midsection will be wider than a normal road, but it will not have a center line. This will be done to allow vehicles to, it is like an allowed overlapping. Okay, I don't want to use the word overlapping because people might misuse it. People watching this might misuse it during the usage phase of the road. The road will only have edge lines, and the midsection will be left so that the road can practically have 3 lanes that are not marked, so that during peak hours they can have an extra lane where the direction that is most congested, vehicles can use that extra lane. If they put a center line, it would mean we'll have 2 big lanes, larger than normal lanes. The larger than normal lanes won't allow, they won't work very good during peak hours, because during peak hours normally it is one direction that is normally congested. In the morning it is normally the direction towards the town. In the evening is normally the direction from the town. So if there is a center line and each of the lanes is wider than a normal lane but not wide enough to accommodate 2 rows of vehicles, then it won't do much. But if they leave the center unmarked, it means we have 3 unmarked lanes. So the direction that is less congested, the vehicles will be moving in a single lane. But the direction that is more congested, the vehicles will be moving in a double lanes. So this is what they are going to do to the road. It is not dual link. Dual link cannot be done in a PBC contract. I don't know why the dwelling of this road didn't happen, because it was announced in 2019. I don't know whether it is due to lack of funds or it's due to an ineffective government. I don't know. But, dwelling of the road is very expensive, because it will involve construction of lots of bridges. It will involve acquisition of some land. Remember, this road is passing through Rongai town. It also passes through Nairobi National, or the edge. I mean, the boundary. It is the boundary between Nairobi National Park and Karen. So all those sections will require some acquisition of land. It will be very. It's a very expensive project, as you can hear from the previous people who are reporting about it. They said the cost of the road was 13.9 billion. That is quite a lot of money. I think it will even be higher right now, because that was in 2019. Right now it will be much higher, because the whole section is from Bomas to Kona. The distance from Bomas to Kona is around 27 kilometers. Doing a nice dual carriageway for 27 kilometers is not a joke. Remember, the southern bypass, which is also 27 kilometers, was done at a cost of 18 billion shillings. And that was like 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, 18 billion shillings. So this road section, which is approximately the same length, not approximate, it is basically the same length, because it is 27 kilometers and it is 2024, more than 10 years later. It's, of course, 13 billion shillings won't even be enough. They'll have to put in more. They'll have to put in more money. So it's an expensive road. Siham is doing this performance-based contract at a cost of 550 million Kenya shillings. 550 million Kenya shillings is too little to do a road. So that is it, guys. You can see the works are ongoing. I think they're doing a good job. People call it shoddy, because they were expecting a dual carriageway and now they are getting only maintenance. But this is maintenance. It is not shoddy work. It is good work. It is being done according to the contract. Kenyans are normally very funny people. They usually blame contractors and engineers for things that these people have no control over. If an engineer has been told to design a certain type of road, and he designs that type of road, and a contractor comes and builds that type of road, you can't compare it to Thika Road and then call it shoddy work. Thika Road was designed to be this kind of road. It was an expensive road. It was designed to carry a lot of traffic. It was designed to have service lanes all throughout its length. So when you look at Thika Road and compare it to another road and claim that the engineer that designed this road is not good, or the contractor building this particular road is not good, you're not making sense at all. It is like you hire someone to build you a semi-permanent house, a mud house, and then you blame this person for building a poor quality house than the other person who was hired to build a mansion. This guy that you hired is only building what you hired him to build and what you pay him to build. The other guy built what he was hired to build.